everyone. We are absolutely over the moon thrilled to bring you the Cleanse Club today is in partnership having a conversation with deep diving with the one and only Kim Rogers, the Worm Queen. It's almost too good to be true, and we cannot wait to dive in with you. My name is Alicia Long. My business is Sunny Side Up Wellness. I also have a podcast called Sunny Side Up Wellness, and the other two co-founders of the Cleanse Club are on with us today. I'm going to let them do a quick intro, and then we are going to introduce the Worm Queen herself. So take it away, Lindsaya.
Hi, I'm Lindsaya. I'm the founder of the Wellness
I am Rochelle
Warrior
Beasley.
Collective,
My
and I
business
get
is
to
Aloe and
also
Alchemy, and
collaborate
I
with
am
these
all
incredible
about
humans on
empowering
the
and
Cleanse
relaxation.
Club. And
And
Rochelle.
very excited to be here with Kim today. Allie, would you like to quick intro what the Cleanse Club is?
Sure, I can absolutely do that. So the Cleanse Club started over a year ago, almost 2 years now at this point, and we do seasonal cleansing as a virtual community. And so each season we bring you different cleanses like the liver cleanse, kidney cleanse, parasite. Obviously, here we are talking about that today. We're going to be talking about the lymphatic system. So each season we go along with traditional Chinese medicine. We look at the plants that God has given to us. We look at all the ways that the body can heal itself, and we do that in community. The beautiful thing about the Cleanse Club is that we meet virtually. So not only are you doing the cleanse, but you're supported to be able to ask questions. If you have symptoms, which we'll also talk about today, you don't have to feel alone in those symptoms. So that's a little bit about the Cleanse Club, and also how we kind of jumped in with Kim, right, for RogersHood Apothecary. So thank you for reminding me to bring that up, Rochelle. Awesome. Well, I'm going to intro Kim, and then I'll have Kim jump in and talk a little bit about her business. So Kim Rogers, if you guys do not follow her on Instagram, that is the place I followed her first. And so RogersHood Apothecary is where you will look for her. She is known as the Worm Queen, which is ultimately, she'll tell you how she went, what's the word I'm looking for? I almost said virtual, but it's how you Viral. Thank you. That's how you went viral. Like, we think about all the things we do in our life, what we're passionate about, what we'll be known for. And it's like, okay, let's rock. I'm going to be known as the woman that gets all the parasites out of everybody's body. So that is just one thing that Kim does, you guys. She has so many different resources on her website, and her resource guide will blow your mind. It's like 63 pages of how to heal the body. So we're just so grateful you're here, Kim. And I would love to have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how Rogers Hood came to be.
That was great. Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much. I'm so excited to be here, and what you guys are doing is amazing. Just being able to support people while cleansing. And I don't think a lot of people realize that when you are chronically ill, how alone it feels, or when you're doing things like cleansing. It's such a crazy thought process for a lot of people, and not to have them be alone. I do a lot of group cleanses, social media wide as well, not quite as in depth as your guys's, but it's just keeping the community together and allowing them to share what's going on, because not everyone has that supportive partner or family in their life, but they're wanting to make sure that they're cleansing and cleaning their bodies out to make themselves feel better. So when you have that community, that's the most important thing when you're doing self-healing, is just the community. I didn't have a community when I was in my self-healing journey, and it was really lonely. I had my husband, thank gosh, because I'm telling you, man, he is the best of the best. You couldn't find any greater man than my husband. And so it really does make a difference when you have a community. And when I went viral, that was the first thing I said to the universe, is I just want a community of my own to be able to share my knowledge and also get knowledge and be able to not be alone, because I lived at the time in the woods and I was building and I was so ill. I was like on my deathbed. And when I say that, I legitimately was on my deathbed. We had gotten our affairs in order. We quit our careers. I come from Western medicine, and my husband was an engineer, and we quit our life in order for us to figure out and heal my body. And it was very difficult because we didn't have people that were out there helping us. And so I vowed that if I had a community, I would stand up and I would help them and I would be their voice. And if I had the opportunity to start a business to assist people, I didn't know at the time what my business would be, but it really is important to have your tribe. And the studies show that having a soul tribe and having those people around you just amplifies your health to the next level. So I became the Worm Queen over on TikTok, and I wear it with pride. I am so grateful that I got crowned and that I wasn't called the Worm Lady, because that is not fun. That is not really merchable, right? Because I got merch. Like, that is not really marketing. So my community gave me a crown, and I was so honored at the time that I've been able to share all of what I know. And I'm called the Worm Queen, but I definitely have more knowledge than just about worms. And I find that this is my path. This is my pain to purpose, and this is my life. Like, this is why I was put here. I think some people eventually find that out later in life, and that's what happened to me. I was just kind of floating around like, oh, so this is what life is. And the day I went viral, it was like a light bulb, and everything changed that day.
Kim, I love this story. I know all of us do so deeply. And I'm curious because you made a nod to the fact that you come from the medical community. So if you'd give our listeners and our community insight into what you come from, and also that first part of where because having heard your story, like where it was that you realized that something was literally living inside of you. Like what was that came forward for you? Because it was in that moment of decision where the viral content ended up coming from that story. So curious about it a little bit more.
So I come from Western medicine. I've been in Western medicine since 2004. I have 2 healthcare degrees. I was valedictorian in both of those degrees. I ran 25 healthcare colleges across the United States. I've written multiple medical books. I worked with Cengage, Pearson, and McGraw-Hill. I was a professor at nighttime, and during the day, I ran the colleges because I'm like a freak of nature. I love to work. And I served on medical advisory boards, and I wrote certifications for national allied health programs in order for you to get certified as a professional. So I've really worked deeply into the Western medicine world. And in 2019, my health declined so rapidly that that's when my husband and I were like, what's wrong with me? And I had 13 surgeries. I had a hysterectomy when I was 29 years old. I had stage 4 endometriosis, beginning stages of cervical cancer, and I had every label you could possibly think of. No one could tell me what was wrong with me. I stopped pooping for a month, and it scared me because that's so bad for you. That's so uncomfortable as a woman, as a human. It was the most uncomfortable thing that I could go through. But I was on Klonopin for over 22 years, and I was on the highest dose. And so what kind of started this whole journey was I wanted to get off of all of my pharmaceuticals. I was starting to showing Parkinson's-like symptoms. I come from neurology, so my license is a medical specialist. My specialties are endocrinology and neurology, and I know what this looks like, right? I know from a professional standpoint exactly what's about to come my way, and I'm only 47 next week. So, I'm 46 years old, and this all happened when I was in my early 40s. And I thought, God, another label? Are you kidding me? Another medication? I cannot go through this. And so we were already out at our property starting our log home build when I said, Jeremy, I got to get off everything. I got to know who I really am to the soul. And I got to know what's really going on with me, because before I take another diagnosis, I really need to know, is it the side effects of the medications or is it something else? We all know it was something else. But I really worked hard for a year and a half to get myself off the medications, to really clean up my diet, to start doing more self-healing. I was meditating. I pay homage to Amanita, this mushroom, because I learned how to break it down and make the same DNA structure as Klonopin. It's the same DNA. So it's the same medicine, just in a plant form. And so I learned all about mushrooms, and I learned all about herbs because I don't come from holistic world. I'm classically trained with Western medicine, and I still wasn't at the top level I should be for everything I had done in a year and a half of my life. I was feeling better. I no longer was feeling like I was dying. My organs were no longer slowly shutting down, which is what was happening. And I just did not feel like that was it. Like, okay, I got off the meds. What else? Right. Then I wasn't pooping. So I'm like, well, what else is wrong with me? So I reached out to my doctors and they said that we can't have any more surgeries on you, Kim. Like, this is it. You've maxed out. We're just now causing damage. Try some psyllium husk. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Psyllium husk? There's more to this than just psyllium husk. So I was scrolling with purpose on TikTok and I came across a girl who said, I almost unalived myself over worms. And it just made me stop in my tracks. A few years before, I thought I had worms. I thought I had pinworms. I went to my doctor, who was also my surgeon for endometriosis, and I said, Beth, I think that I have worms. And she goes, Kim, you're in a first world country. There's no way you have worms. You haven't been out and about. And I'm like, okay, well, I think I do. I feel itchy. I've got some flares during the full moon. Like I've got all these crazy symptoms. And she's like, no. Well, I went and kind of researched a little a few years before and I did screenshots on my phone. I'm at that age where like if I try and remember something, that's my list. And I remember screenshotting wormwood and colonics. Well, I never did anything. I just kept going, right? I never did anything with that. So it wasn't really too far fetched for me to think that I potentially could have parasites. So I bought what she was selling. I was all over it. It was just Paragard. It was on $30. I got this. Now we're poor in the woods because we're living on nothing. So $30 at the time was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot for me. So I take it. 3 days, roundworm, flukes, and pinworms floating in the toilet. Didn't even have to be a digger. Just chilling. And this pain that I had on my right side, that one was an indication that it was time for me to have surgery. And two was back and freaking me out. And that's why I've reached out to my doctors. Gone. Never. I've never had that pain again, ever. I've never had that pain again. But I unloaded years of worms. And so I immediately took to my phone, of course, because I had a little account. I had like 10,000 followers. I was teaching them how to grow mushrooms and showing my log home build. And it was, I was developing a little community of alternative healing people. I immediately did a video, 60 seconds. I say, I come from Western medicine and I've never dewormed myself until now. And it just stopped people in their tracks. And in 2 hours, 1 million people watched that video. And I knew right then, it shut my phone off. Literally, my phone overheated. TikTok could not keep up with all of the likes and all of the comments. It just was like, what? So it shut itself off. And then my phone was still going for like an hour after TikTok shut off and it overheated and shut off. So I'm like, this is real. Like, oh my gosh. So I get on another device and I finally get myself in and I've got hundreds of comments just asking what I did. And I mean, it was wild. 60 seconds changed my life on July 18th of 2021. I have done this every day. I've never taken a day off. My first day off will be tomorrow. I've done this every day since July 18th of 2021. 6 months later, I created a business. Funny, yesterday, because TikTok and like your phone will say on this day, this many years ago, it popped up and a video came up of me talking about Paragard and Oregon grape root and binding. And that was the day. So September 10th of 2021 was the day I knew I needed to make my own cleanse because I was talking about all of these people's products and it was around $250 to buy everything I was talking about. Papaya seeds, Oregon grapefruit, a binder, candida, like all these things. And I'm like, but 60-second videos. And I was spending 8 hours a day teaching people other people's products. And I remember September 10th, I paused and I said, I just got to do this myself. I just got to figure out how and where, because I'm in a trailer. I'm still not really well. We're building a log home and I have no friends. So I'm in this predicament, right? And I come across Erica, who is an amazing person. She is my business partner. She lives in Jonesboro and she runs our production facility. So in that moment, everything aligned for us.
That is such a remarkable story. I saw our hands going to our hearts and so much nodding and like that. I mean, really understanding and also I think many of us, if we think about it, have some kind of curiosity or nudge, and then it might be some time until we maybe take the next step. And so I love so much that your origin story. So you found all of those things,
Mhm.
and I know a little bit more. So where do you suspect you were primarily getting parasites from? I know you've talked about a couple things, or like, what did you kind of uproot there and where you discovered it in your life?
I think people think that you get them from one space and that you get them and then that's it. Like you get this one called roundworm and then you got it from eating salmon, or you get this one tapeworm and then that's your one, right? But it's so unfortunate that we've not been taught this. It's so unfortunate that 101 years ago that our medical system changed and didn't give us this information. And that's kind of what makes this so crazy and important. One, because I know how that system works because I was an author and a subject matter expert. And it's very easy to change our books. It's very easy to change our educational books, which then has a ripple effect through history, right? And then through the future. So it's very simple to make these changes. But I didn't get it from one spot. And I know for a fact that I've had them for a really long time. I also know that I've had mold in my body since I was born because of this whole journey. And usually when you have parasites, you've been exposed to mold as well, and they hang on to each other. They love each other. And so there's a lot more past of, how I got it. But the main culprit that really light bulbed me and medical awakened me was we had them in our water. And that's a big thing that people don't realize. One, we had a community well, and I live in an area that has around 4,000 to 5,000 people that live off that well. Wells are notorious for parasites. When I worked in the emergency room, I didn't even think about this for myself, but I would ask people that came in with 10 plus days of stomach issues, do you have a well? People think that when you have a well, you have the best water. Unfortunately, the well is in the dirt, right? The dirt is where a lot of parasites live. So it's really unfortunate that we think that our water is the cleanest and the best. And that's kind of a selling point in that area that I lived in. The first thing they'd say is, oh, and we have the best artesian water in the world. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so great. No, man, I tested it. It tested positive for roundworm. You don't have the best. I've also tested Seattle, and it's also tested positive for nematodes, which are roundworm. So really, that's the main indication where I realized that it wasn't just, oh, I picked it up from my pets, right? My dog and I had the same worm. Looking back, my dog had worms. I ate a ton of sushi. I ate a ton of salmon. I made sure that my pork and my beef were as cooked as possible, but you just never know, right? So there's so many ways to catch a parasite, and they all live harmoniously together. They love each other. They live in the same house together. They usually live in the same biofilm together, and they contribute a lot of issues that we'll talk more about, but it's not just one place to pick them up. I went to Mexico a lot. I worked for Delta. So I used to travel around the world, and I just never really thought that I should be this proactive and careful with my body, that once I pick one up, you have one stressful event and it triggers the whole environmental toxin cesspool in your body. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, what's wrong with me? Well, it's because we've been exposed to all of these toxins,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you shared that we were going to talk a little bit more. So would you elaborate a bit more on the signs and symptoms? I know you already
Um,
mentioned, you mentioned around the full moon when we have maybe some skin issues or we're finding ourselves itchy. What are some other miss things that you see regularly?
Grinding of the teeth, that's the one I always start with, right? It's like the most shocking to people that you think you're just grinding your teeth from stress and TMJ. Well, no, you're grinding your teeth because parasites hijack your nervous system. They steal magnesium and calcium. They can take up to 90% of our nutrients. And those vitamins are needed. Those minerals are needed in our bodies to regulate our nervous system. So if they're in there hijacking it, you're grinding your teeth because your body is like, yo, I can't talk. I'm going to grind. And so I went and got braces because I grinded my teeth, got TMJ, and I don't do it anymore, but I had to wear a night guard. I would grind so hard I broke night guards. It's wild how much I was grinding, and my dentist and my doctors would just say, oh, well, you can get a TMJ surgery, $6,000. Insurance won't pay for it. They break your jaw for 6 weeks and we hope it's fixed. Well, just cleanse. Like, really, I don't grind my teeth anymore. I don't have that problem. And if I start to feel like I have that issue, I start to cleanse, right? I do intermittent cleansing. So that's one. I also was a huge after 7 p.m. I would crave the cereal, and I had the worst insomnia my entire life, not just the few years. I got my bachelor's degree from midnight to 3 in the morning. I went to school. I worked all day, and then I could not sleep. And I remember some nights I would eat really not great. I ate a lot of sugar, sugar and salt. After 7 p.m., they're nocturnal, they're up, they're hanging out, that's their breakfast. So they're doing their part by keeping you up all night. And then you're tired. And so then you have brain fog, anxiety, mental health issues, because again, they've hijacked our nervous system. They've hijacked our lymphatic system. They hold heavy metals. They hold viruses. They'll drop them whenever they want. When you start to go in and start making your body inhospitable, they'll dump all that. And again, that's what made me bring all of the things I did with the Parify kit, because as I'm going through this on camera, and I'm realizing, oh, they're holding heavy metals, because I was dumping heavy metals and I could see them in my urine. I could feel them. I could taste them. I need to bring some heavy metal thing in. So then I was bringing in cilantro, and then I had candida. I had a lump in my throat. I thought that was a die-off, but really it was candida. So I brought in Sustain in the Parify kit with candida. And then I never tested positive for Epstein-Barr virus until after I cleansed. And I know for a fact that I didn't test because, one, I have my records from the day I was born. So I'm kind of a science project. But I had a spinal tap and they tested me for Epstein-Barr, and I didn't test positive on a spinal tap. So I know they hold viruses. And if you don't do a cleanse the correct way, they're going to dump those into your body. So it dumped it. And then I had chronic mono. So then I was like, okay, so I'm making my body worse by not doing a process. And I'm telling your community this so they can get an idea of why I started a business and why I created the Parify kit, is because I literally went through this for 6 straight months on my own, not knowing, because I come from Western medicine, but I know the human body. And so as all of these things are starting to come up, I'm researching on my body and I'm realizing, oh, okay, there's nothing out there to tell you this. I'm finding it out on my own as I'm just taking some random tincture by Paragard, right? And what did it do to me? And I'm watching my husband go through die-offs. Well, why are we having die-offs? How do you got a bind? You use charcoal? What do you mean? What's charcoal? Why would you do that? Like, we use that in the emergency room when someone come in overdosing or alcohol poisoning. Oh, you take a microdose of it. Again, community is everything. My community was like, you have to bind, Kim. And I'm like, I don't know any of this stuff, but I know the human body and I know medicine and I know pharmacology. So it can't be that difficult to come up with. So I need an herb for viruses. I need an herb for candida. I need a heavy metal herb. Oh, I need a binder. So I'm just like, I'm grabbing all these people's products. I'm doing them all. I'm spending 8 hours a day talking about all of this. I'm writing so that everyone can have some literature. Linktree wasn't a thing. So then that's when I got my friend Erica to come in and write a website for me so I could put all this on there. And it's like light bulbs, right? And people are like, oh, we use Ivor, we use this stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to use synthetics. I really want to do this as natural as possible. And I want it to be transparent. I don't want to know. I want to know what natural ingredients are. And if you as a company can't tell me what are the natural ingredients and why are you using caramel coloring in something that you can easily soak, and I don't need to see that it's a pretty color caramel. I mean, I think our tinctures are beautiful, but that's really where this birthed from in that 6-month period.
Jump in here if I can, because something that you said had a light bulb moment go off for me. And I think about our Cleanse Club community. I think about my friends. I think about my family. And I think about the big things looming over them with health, the no energy, the no sleep, the autoimmune diseases that we're being diagnosed with, all these things, right? And then we label it's perimenopause or it's menopause or it's, something is just off. And like you said, you couldn't pinpoint exactly what was going on. And so when you mentioned the no sleep thing, I kind of had this moment where I went, I know so many people that are up in the middle of the night, that are insomniac, that don't know what's wrong with them, and they try a parasite cleanse and then they feel sick. They're like, I
Mhm.
did it and I felt so horrible that I'm not going to do it again. So, could you talk a little bit about that? Because I'm thinking of 10 people right now that didn't do it the right way, and
Mhm.
that if they did use these tinctures in the right way with the binders, addressing the candida, addressing the heavy metals, addressing all of the things, it's a journey, guys, right? It's a journey.
Mhm.
And so when we try to do too much at one time, we are going to have that overwhelm. And if we're not doing it the right way. So this beautiful kit
Yep.
that Rogers Hood has come up with helps us do it in the right way, but
Mhm.
specifically to sleep, if you could talk about that.
Well, I always joke around that a bad cleanse is like a bad trip. You don't want to do it again, but you should because it's just helping you. So, those of you that have had a bad cleanse, you and your mind need to realize that something's dying off in your body, and that's why you feel that way. And I really did my best to bring things in like white willow bark into metal flush in order for you to not be in any pain, any discomfort, and really help with the die offs. The reason why you're feeling die offs is because they're peeing and pooping in our body and they're dumping things off, and your body is doing what it's supposed to do. When you start to feel bad, it means your body is amping your immune system up, protecting itself. If you felt good the whole time, you might not be killing anything off, but you're getting rid of some inflammation. No matter which way you look at it with the Parify kit, you can adjust it because it's a tincture. It goes directly into your bloodstream. When you have to take a lot of pills, there's only a small amount that actually absorb into your body. And I know with other cleanses, I love all parasite cleanses. And I think that that also what makes me stand aside from all of this is because I'm just happy people are getting healthy. That's it. But I've done other cleanses and it does make me feel trashy and I can't take all those pills. I think another company, it's like 26 pills. Of course, you're not feeling very well. How much are you being supported? How much is your body processing? How harsh is this? I wanted something that was really easy for people to adjust when they needed to. I wanted it for kids. I wanted to be able to say, you know what? Maybe you just do 5 drops twice a day. Maybe you do the 15 drops once a day. It's really what's going to best feel for you. Maybe you can, my husband pulse doses throughout the day. He'll do a full dropper. Like that's what's really great about the Parify kit is that it's adjustable. It's easy. It's very gentle, in my opinion, compared to some of the other cleanses that I've done. You're going in and you're diffusing a lot of situations in your body you don't even know you're having problems with. But the heavy metals can make them feel yucky. I've had heavy metal poisoning, it's really uncomfortable. Mold is sitting inside of these parasites. If you have physical worms, you've got spores chilling inside of your body. Those things are dying off as well. They're all a living frequency inside of your body. So, of course, when you're removing something like that from your body, you're going to feel uncomfortable when you're doing it. But the thing about it is that at the end of the day, are you starting to feel a little bit better? Are you seeing any results? If all of a sudden you do a cleanse and the first 3 days you went from being an insomniac to being, I'm sleeping through the night, or at least I'm sleeping a few hours, something in you died and it's gone, right? It's helping you feel better. That's the whole point. Yeah, you're going to have some bad days. I mean, we all have bad days, but is it worse to feel like why you got on that cleanse? Or is it better to know that you're doing something for yourself to alleviate some of your symptoms and to get down to what your root cause really is? Because if you're not able to get to your root cause, which a lot of us, our root cause is very simple: parasites, mold, and Lyme. Those are huge root causes in our community, in the self healing world that we are not being diagnosed with, that is not being looked at. We don't have affordable, available, accurate testing for any of those. And I'm working on that, by the way. It's a huge thing I'm on right now. I have a lobbyist lawyer that's in DC. I'm just annoyed with Western medicine that they can't get us these testing. But you don't really need to test. You just need to know that all of a sudden you start taking these herbs and you're like, oh, like I feel worse, but do I feel worse than I felt before I started it? And what made me start this? I don't want to go there anymore. I want to improve. And that's the mindset. And these frequencies in our body are going to stop us every chance they get. They don't want to die. So they're going to brainwash you, which is they control. Parasites control your mind and mold brainwashes you. It's an alive frequency inside of your body telling you what to do. You're not wanting to eat that sugar. the parasite is. You're not acting reckless, the parasite is. So if you get in there, and of course they're going to fight back, they don't want to die. They've been living in you rent free for me, it was decades.
Kim, I'm so curious. And then I know we also want to touch on another really powerful system of the body that you are addressing because you know its relationship. And we want to learn more from you in regards to why the lymph system, however, before, like how the lymph system correlates to this overall, health. However, before that, you said something really powerful that I wanted to ask. And you attributed it to the misinformation about why we're not taught, first off, the number of places that really it's limitless, how many places we can pick it up. And also that we continuously are exposed, which means this isn't a one and done, is what I heard you say. Would you give a little insight to our listeners what they should expect when we're talking about our lifetime experience with parasite cleansing?
So it's not a one and done, right? We are constantly exposed. Even myself, I'm a 4-year warrior of cleansing at this point in life, and I still pass worms because they're deep down. They're down deep there, right? They're evaders. They've been around longer than us. They're gonna outlive us. They're hard to detect. So when you start to cleanse, this is just something that you want to do 3 to 4 times a year. We give such good instructions. You guys have such a great program. You have such a good community that allows people to come in and be directed, because I think, that is one of the hardest parts about all of this. But, you know, really got to look at like you're changing your lifestyle. And I think what's really great, and I hope I answer your question and I'm not just going on some soapbox here, but what I think is really great about it is when you start to feel good, you become addicted to it. And you're like, this is the way I'm supposed to feel. These bodies are not supposed to be sick. They are meant to heal themselves. You cut yourself, a body starts to heal it, right? That's what goes on the inside. I think we've just kind of lost our way in a sense because we can't see on the inside and we're such visual people. Humans are like, we got to see, we got to know. No, man, cut yourself in half. Look at it. You got bugs, you got mold, you got probably Lyme. I mean, that's like wild how many people have Lyme. There's so many things that is inside of your body and you're not giving yourself a fighting chance. Like just go in, cleanse it out, feel better, because it's not a one and done. This is a lifestyle change. And we say 3 to 4 times a year. And I say that because 1, human nature doesn't want to have to think I got to do this forever. 2, I chose 30 days because that's about as much as people can do, right? At 21 days makes or breaks a habit. So if I get you past that 21-day mark, I'm doing good in life to help you as a human. And it's just such a different thought process because we've been so indoctrinated to think that herbs, what are you talking about? Well, they actually stole the DNA structure of herbs to synthesize medications. They're the same thing, but your body doesn't know how to synthesize medication. And that becomes a problem. That is a buildup. That has heavy metals in it. And I know for a fact how many heavy metals are really inside of synthetic medications, because that's what weights down the frequency in order for it to go through and dissolve into your body. But an herb dissolves. It goes in and it goes exactly where it needs to go and help you clean exactly what you need to clean. So don't get scared of the die-offs. Don't freak out and don't go, I don't want to change, because obviously you're in a situation where you need to make changes in order for you to have a good quality of life. And that's all we all want for this short time in our life that we're here, is to take care of this human body. We only get one, So I hope I answered your question.
You did absolutely so beautifully. And again, what I love that you reiterated, and it's part of my personal story. My son's 15 and it was struggling to get pregnant with him, where I did my first parasite cleanse. And I had someone when we were launching this next iteration of the parasite cleanse with Parify, and someone said, haven't you gotten rid of those yet? And it just made me giggle. And so I appreciated that you really painted the picture that this is a lifetime journey. And my girlfriend is actually here from India right now, where she lives. They deworm yearly. That is a known practice. If you live in that territory, at least once a year, you get it from your primary care. You just simply walk to the pharmacy, whatever that may be. So thank you, because I wanted to hear it from the worm queen herself.
Isn't it crazy how other countries do this? And I mean, that's also a platform that I talk about too. Other countries do this. I do a lot of cruises. I like to talk to the other countries that are on the cruise. And Jamaica, they do it once a month. They drink a tea called the Bush. Mexico does it a couple times a year. It's mandatory in some places because pinworms is lice of the butt. Once one person has it, y'all have it. And so they give their citizens the opportunity to just go to the store and buy it at the pharmacy. Their doctors don't look at them like you're crazy. We do synthetics at least once a year, my husband and I, because we were so infested. And I just got done doing one and it was $24,000 for 28 pills. 28 pills, $24,000. Didn't pay that, but that's what my insurance was billed. And it's just nuts that we as Western medicine countries think that we're not going to get worms. We have them. 95% of us have them. And 60 million people per the CDC has them, but let's talk about why it's only 60 million and we have 330 million people in our country. It's because we don't have accurate available testing. And I tested my stool. This is how I found out I had Cryptosporidium parvium, which was what was shutting my organs down. I also had roundworm, flukes, and pinworms. I also have Lyme, and I was living in mold. So I am the poster child of what America looks like, honestly. So I found out that I had crypto and my husband had D. fragilis and roundworm, not from LabCorp, which is the insurance based lab. I did the same poop to LabCorp as I did to an independent lab that went to Mexico. Mexico is who told me what was in my stool, not LabCorp. LabCorp's lab slip says not in lieu of a parasitic infection. So I tested negative because that lab technician, and again, I come from education, right? I know exactly how they're trained because I trained them. They get 3 minutes. They look at the stool, and it's not some 60-year-old parasitologist. It's a lab technician that looks at the stool and says, oh, yeah, I don't see an egg. I don't see anything recognizable. They do a little sample. That sample set out. Okay. They don't tell you to refrigerate your sample. They don't tell you to scoop few days worth of poop. You scoop 1 day of poop. So you're only getting one snapshot of what's really in your gut. And once you think about them, they know because they're an alive frequency inside of your body that they know when you've thought about them. And I have so many crazy proofs of that. So it really is a thing in our country that we don't have this option of testing and this option of understanding, and our physicians won't go outside of the box. They stay within their box of knowledge. It's not in our textbooks. It's a little bit there. I talked to a doctor from Harvard yesterday, and he said he got one class about parasites. And he goes, and the whole class wasn't even parasites. It was like half parasites, like how to look, how to talk to your patient about it. It wasn't like an in-depth, like I've done this every day for 4 years. Like I have dug into other countries' plans, how they practice, what they do. The Amish know what to do. The Amish cleanse. And so they all have their own way, but we just don't. And there's 3 countries that are Western medicine countries that really have no clue of what's going on. Us, Australia, and Canada. Those are the 3 countries that RogersHood ships the most parasite cleanses to. Those are the 3 countries. And it's because we just don't think it could happen to us. So you think that the parasite's just going to stop at the border and be like, listen, I don't want to go into America with you. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop right here. You could catch it in Mexico and not have an issue and come back to the States. You don't drink their water, don't drink our water. There's so many things that I think just bringing up your friend that's here, it's like I get comments all day long like, you guys are crazy. Well, we do this. What's wrong with you people? And I'm just like, we just think we're immune, I guess.
That is wild. And to your point too about all the systems of the body working together to cleanse, garbage out, garbage in, garbage out, right? We are diving in as a community, as a Cleanse Club community. We've been focused on parasites for the last 2 rounds of cleansing using RogersHood Apothecary. And in the fall, we are jumping into what we call the 3 L's, which are lymph, liver, and lung. And we are going to be utilizing and encouraging participants of the Cleanse Club to use your lymph kit. So could you talk to us about the lymphatic system? And we love your 3 Ps, pooping, peeing, and perspiring. All of those things have to be working with every cleanse. So my question is twofold. Talk to us about the lymphatic system, and then also tell us what order you recommend. Is there an order? Should we be parasite cleansing, lymph cleansing, and mold cleansing? Is there an order, or just is everybody different in that way?
So I created the lymph kit well, I've been working on it for years, but I finally got to launch it in May. So we launched the lymph kit in May, and you want to start with the lymph kit. And that's because of the 3 Ps. You want to make sure you're peeing, pooping, and perspiring. And it's not a cleanse. The lymph is not a cleanse. It's actually a wellness kit. You can take it every day, and you can take it with the Parify kit. So I recommend either starting 2 weeks to 30 days prior to the Parify kit, and then you'll have enough that you can keep taking the lymph kit with your parasite cleanse. And that's because the herbs that I used are things like lion's mane. Lion's mane helps break through the blood barrier of the brain and actually heal versus just Band-Aid. And then it's also the driver, like a school bus driver, and all the herbs are the passenger. And it's driving those herbs into your brain, helping you heal. So it's not just body, it's going into your mind. And so that's one really great thing about fulvic and about lion's mane is they're one of the few herbs that actually cross the barrier, and then they bring everything with it. So lion's mane's great. Cat's claw, so if you do have Lyme, this is a double kit, so it's for Lyme and it's also for the lymph. And so I brought in cat's claw. Cat's claw helps repair the DNA. Our DNA has been damaged because of all the environmental toxins, the mold, the Lyme, the parasites, the heavy metals, everything that we are talking about, it has damaged our DNA. So I brought in an herb to help with that DNA repair. I also brought in turkey tail, and that one's in the lymph tincture itself. And turkey tail helps break down tumors and helps break down scar tissue. And I took turkey tail to put myself into remission. I did lion's mane, turkey tail, remission of endometriosis. I have been 3 years with no endo issues. And so turkey tail is given to patients that are on chemo and that have the C word. And so it helps break down scar tissue. Well, we all have some of that, especially if we've got physical worms going in and out of our body. It's creating, issues inside of our body. So I brought that in. It boosts your immune system. It has sarsaparilla in it. I brought that in to help with kidney health. All the herbs that I brought in help you support your body, and that keeps you out of being in a constant killing phase, which is what happens when you bring in the Parify kit. Wormwood and Oregon grapefruit are supportive, yet they're a killing herb. So you have to support your body while you're killing things. If not, it's just going to stick in and it's going to be like what happened to me and my husband. We stayed in a killing phase and it just made us sick. And that's really the problem with other cleanses, is that they keep you in that killing phase. So you got to bring in a support while doing it, and you'll keep doing it. But my favorite tincture of all time is Sustain. And Sustain is also in the lymph kit. And it's only 3 herbs, and they're the most powerful herbs I've ever taken in my life. It's Oregon grapefruit, usnea, and peppermint. So usnea is an herb that not a lot of people know about. It's old man's beard. When you're looking in the woods and you see things hanging down from the trees, there's a 2-part. One, usnea lives with lungwort lichen, which is in meadow flush, and that helps break down the biofilm. But usnea chips away at the biofilm, but it also helps curb your appetite. So if you've ever done Parify and you don't feel hungry, that's because of usnea. Usnea helps curb your appetite while flushing out the viruses and bacteria that is being dumped by parasites and mold and Lyme. And so they actually stole the DNA structure of usnea and made usnic acid, which is what they use for a lot of weight loss people, and it's synthetic. So usnea by itself is not like usnic acid. It's quite different because this is the natural way. And so it goes in, and it's Mother Nature's doxycycline. So it comes in and it helps people that have Lyme. It helps paralyze the Lyme. It goes in and it helps curb your appetite, because these mofos are making you want to eat things that you'd never eat before because they need the strength and you're trying to weaken them. So it goes in there and it just punches them, and it's like, you got to go. And so when you're supporting your lymphatic system, it's moving the sewer of your body. That's what your lymphatic system is. It's the sewer. And so you got to manually move it somehow. It is so crazy how we were designed, because you would think the sewer system would have a sphincter and it would be able to pump, but your sewer system cannot pump. You have to do it for it. That's the lymphatic part of it. You have to manually do it. But I brought in herbs to help with that. And once you get your 3 Ps, peeing, pooping, and perspiring, man, your parasite cleanse, you won't even have die-offs. One of my friends is doing the parasite cleanse without the lymph and she's struggling. And I'm like, it's because the lymph is supporting you still. It's helping with the brain fog. It's pushing things out. It's moving your lymph for you. It's allowing you to be able to take a breath and not constantly be massaging yourself all the time, So it's just another aid in your toolbox.
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay,
Beautifully.
sure. Perfect. I
Mhm.
just wanted to make sure. Thank you for explaining that, because I think a lot of times when we talk about the lymphatic system, to your point, it doesn't have its own pump, right? So we have to do our own pumping, our own
Yeah.
squeegeeing, our own rebounding, all the things that we have to do. So what a beautiful thing to have herbals to help us with that.
Yeah. It's not going to be the end all. It's not going to be the only thing that you can do. But
Right.
when you can give yourself a break, right? Because that's really what your body needs at times. It just needs to be like, I got to crutch on something for a minute.
Yeah.
When we get ourselves out of fight or flight and we put ourselves into the parasympathetic nervous system and allow ourselves to take a break, parasympathetic is where we want to be. That's your rest and digest.
Right.
Your body starts to function at a different level, and you might not have ever known what that's like. Me, I never knew what that was like until a few years ago. So,
Well, and the feelings and the emotions that come up with that too, right? So nothing in the
mhm,
body is disconnected. And we have friends, family, clients, people that we're working with that say, gosh, I've got all this rage. I've got this anger. I've
mhm,
got this grief. And what do I do with it? And for the first time ever, your body is coming out of that fight or flight and learning how to rest and digest. And again, going back to the fact that it's a journey, you also have to support yourself with community, first of all, grounding,
mhm,
put your feet in the grass, prayer, meditation, relaxation, cold plunging, sauna, like all of these things support you as you figure out how to live in a body that's actually functioning the way it was meant to be
mhm.
functioning.
Yeah. And it's such a weird
Yeah.
concept, right? Because we've lived like this for so long that you then just kind of at the end of a lot of this stuff that we're all doing, at the end of it, it's a wild scenario that you have to readjust to how that life is now.
Hmm.
It's not like it's just handed to you and you are like, oh, yeah, like I understand what it's like to change that muscle memory of being happy and being healthy. Like you have to work at it. Your body has been this way for as long as it's known. So you have to be graceful with yourself. You have to be patient with yourself. And I get it. Like I've been chronically ill my whole life. I was born from a mom who took prednisone while she was pregnant with me because she was also ill. And so I was immediately born addicted to prednisone, having issues right out of the gate. And so it wasn't a shock that over, my childhood that I had a lot of health issues. And now I don't have those issues. And it's weird because I've had to switch. I've had to make a switch of like, immediately if I don't feel well, oh my God, I'm dying. Or, oh my God, no, like what could it be? And so you have to switch over to what's the root cause? What happened to me? Where was I? What was I doing? I passed a worm a couple of months ago. And everybody said the same thing. They were like, I thought you cleansed so much. And I'm like, yeah, but I still am human and I still live a life.
Hmm.
I'm still out here. I'm traveling all the time. I do my best to be as proactive as possible. I put filters on everything because our water has worms in it. Like I do all the things, but I'm still human. And it's possible that it was deep down. I couldn't find it. It's also possible that I ate it and it just was like, oh, I don't want to live in this girl. I don't want to live in her. I'm out. Like there's so many ways. And that goes back to this isn't a one and done. And this is something that we're constantly exposed to. And so it really is such a good lesson for all of us to understand that, like, this is what we do to be proactive. Another soapbox I go on is you need to be proactive. We're such a reactive environment. We're such reactive humans. We're such in a reactive time in our lives that the moment that you switch and go proactive, everything opens up. You realize that this is not something that you're just doing once, that you are exposed all the time. And how can I keep myself from going back to the way I felt before I did this. I never want to go back to the way I was 5 years ago. I never want to go there again. So, am I going to go to an extreme? I'm not going to an extreme because that's just as unhealthy. But I am going to be conscientious about what I do and the times I can be proactive. I'm going to be proactive. And that is an easy fix. Cleanse. Cleanse. I eat something questionably, I take the Parify kit before so that if I eat something that could potentially want to stay in me, it's going to go, nope, 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 nope. She is not good for me. I'm out. And it makes my body inhospitable. And so you can take you can take that proactive with the Parify prior to eating your sushi and salmon if you don't want to give it up. Don't. Just take something right before. And I learned that because that's what a lot of countries do with pumpkin seeds. They are in there, they're anti-parasitic. They put them on salads. Why do they put them on raw produce? They put them on raw produce because that is a number one way in a food world to get a parasite is raw produce. You don't know how it was cleaned. You don't know what was living on it. And so they also add things in like pineapple and pineapple juice and papaya and pumpkin seeds. Those are all anti-parasitic foods.
Mm.
So they add them on their food in order to make their body inhospitable just in case you eat a parasite.
Well, and that goes back to your terrain, right? We talk about it's a little contentious, right? Germ theory and terrain theory, but your temple, your terrain, your body, if you make your body a place that parasites don't want to live, you are being proactive. You're eating the foods
Mhm.
and the things they're going to create environment the parasites don't want to be in. Mold can't live in. Candida can't thrive in. All the things you were talking about. I'm a huge believer that food is medicine, as I know my
Mhm.
other founders as well, Cleanse Club founders are.
Well, that's all we used in the tinctures. And I think that when people look at the ingredients,
Yeah.
cilantro, clove, garlic,
Yeah, exactly.
wormwood's a bitter, but, an Oregon grapefruit, those two things are really more herbs, but hawthorn berry, like peppermint. We just formulated it. I just formulated it synergistically to go through each ailment and just knock out the frequency of that ailment. That's all I did. I'm like, oh, I got digestive issues. I'm going to throw myself some peppermint up in one of these tinctures. Oh, this was a little painful today. I'm going to throw in some white willow bark, which is aspirin. So, really, food is medicine, and it's the way we prepare that food and extract the medicine. There's a specific way to pull the medicine out of our food so that you get every medicinal value of that plant.
Mm.
And that's all we did. I figured out which plants need to be water based. I figured out which plants need to be alcohol. And we soak our stuff for 5 to 8 weeks. We pull all that medicine out. Then we take those herbs and we take the ones that are a water based herb that the medicine's going to come from water. And then we make our tinctures. It really is a simple, very lost art that we do in our own manufacturing facility that we built ourselves. It's 10,000 square feet in Jonesboro, so we make them in the United States. And it really is such a crazy concept because we've only ever gone to a pharmacy to get a synthetic drug to take that just has 20 other side effects with it, right?
Mhm.
So if you think about how you could, I mean, we're so transparent for so many reasons, but one, I give you the herbs, go make it yourself. Really, I tell everyone how we do our own tinctures, and maybe that's not a good marketing thing, but at the same time, it's like, go do it yourself. It's really this easy. For $100, it will cost you way more to make it yourself than $100. But if you are going to continuously do these things, I give you the tools to do it. You go and get charcoal and gutty. I mean, gutty is so simple to make yourself. I give you the full recipe. I tell you how to do it. You can email my team and they'll be like, we even put it on a nice little graphic for you. Because this isn't for me personally. This is not about money. This is not about running a business. I would, in life, been loving just doing nothing some days, But I also have a lot of energy and I love what I'm doing. But at some point, it's like I feel like being as proactive as possible, giving people the tools, allowing the human society and human life to thrive more than to just be every day. I mean, the grind of your health is a full-time job. Give yourself a little bit of a break.
Sometimes you just need a vacation.
Sometimes I get
You're
one
taking one
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yay, good job.
Yeah. I say every day for 4 years, but let's be real. I've been doing this every day since 2019 with my
It's
health.
been
So it's
forever.
really yeah, and I've gone on cruises before. They've never had the intention of I'm not picking up my phone. Like I'm actually going to take a break. And my niece who works for us now, she had her 90 days yesterday. I love her. Her name is Vegas Salmon, like the fish for real. That Matrix is very cruel. But yeah, her name is Vegas Salmon. She works for us. We love her. But she'll be with me, so I can just
Mm.
tell her to look at my phone.
That's so fun.
I'm
I
not
love her.
looking. You look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I already told her, I'm like, I don't want my phone. I got a side hustle phone. I'm like, I'm just going to use this phone to do videos. I'm like, you're taking it. The worm queen needs a
I love it.
vacation.
I love it. Well, we want to be super respectful of your time too. And this has been such an incredible amount of information. Shell had some fun, I almost said crossfire questions, some fun round robin questions just to throw out, just kind of keep things interesting. So we would love to do
Mhm.
that with you just quickly, if
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
We got time. We're
Awesome.
good.
Cool.
We're talking about, vacations and relaxation, and that's where I come in. That's my jam. But
Yay. You're probably, Rochelle, you're probably like, oh God, this girl's never had a
no,
vacation.
listen.
Like her nervous system must be jacked.
No, you know what? I say this all the time. When you run your own business, it's like I create spaces for rest and relaxation, and I am not doing it consistently either because I'm building this business. So I too, I no judgment whatsoever.
Good.
I get it. But if you want a relaxation retreat, I got you.
Okay, cool. We'll talk offline because that is coming in 26 or 2026 for us.
Yes.
Just so you know, RogersHood did loves events. We're
I
down.
love it.
So
I love it. And I love everything that you're creating. Things are
thanks.
only getting, better and better. And it's incredible, especially when you start announcing what you're working on. So
Yeah.
it's so exciting. So, okay, a couple quick questions, like rapid fire. That's what
Okay.
that's what she was trying to remember. It's okay. Words this week. I don't know what's going on in the sky, but what is the weirdest, most surprising thing you learned about parasites?
Oh, it's just rapid.
Rapid. Yeah.
Okay. So I learned that they can absorb 6 to 8 times their weight in spores, viruses, heavy metals, and other parasites.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy.
They-
I don't even want to think
Yeah.
about it, honestly. I'm like, what's going on in my body? Okay. If you could keep only one herb, and I think you've kind of answered this question, but if you could only keep one herb in your apothecary forever, what would it be?
Usnea.
Ooh, I was going to guess peppermint. You were really on the peppermint train.
Well, I love peppermint, but Usnea is Mother Nature's doxycycline and helps with Lyme. It paralyzes it and makes it stop moving in your body. I love Usnea. It has so many. You can get the plant, put it in your mouth, warm it up, put it on an ouch, like a cut. So if you're out in the woods and you get yourself hurt, you just grab it off the tree, put it in your mouth, let it warm up because that's how it activates, and then you just stick it right on the area. But you can boil it, you can alcohol it. Like there's so many things you can do with Usnea. If you all of a sudden you're starving and you don't have any food around, you just want that feeling to stop, you can boil some Usnea and it'll make the feeling of hunger slow down and stop. And yeah, it just has so many different, it boosts your immune system. It removes viruses and bacteria out of your body. It stops candida from continuing to ferment. That's why Sustain is our candida cleanse, is because it actually stops the fermentation in your body and diffuses candida in your body, just making it go back to yeast. So there's so many uses for Usnea. It's one of the most powerful herbs I've ever used in my life.
That's incredible. I feel like that was just like herb mic drop right there. All right. Keeping this rapid fire. What is the most common misconception about cleansing that you would love to bust?
One and done. This is not a one and done, and it will continue to bring them out of your system even after you're finished cleansing. You just started, and herbs can stay in your body for a period of time, but really it's about how you've disrupted them. So it'll continue to keep working, and they're going to know that They know. I mean, I've had someone open up the box. Okay, I'm going to tell this story really quick. So I sent a guy that I did a documentary with, him and his wife and his child, and they live in Ecuador and they have a dog. Okay, so we sent it to them. His wife was this is not true. This is all fake. This is whatever. So we sent it to them. And it was during the full moon, and their daughter had some itchy butt. No joke. He brought the box in and his dog dropped worms. And then his daughter went and pooped in the corner and dumped worms. They hadn't even opened the box. He immediately called me from Ecuador and he said, Kim, we need to talk ASAP right this moment. What voodoo did you just do? And I go, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, we sent this to him like a month ago and he just got it. I go, I don't know what you're talking about, my friend. And he goes, my dog just dumped worms in front of my wife. My daughter has had itchy butt for days and went into the corner and pooped. And the same worm from my dog came out of my daughter. And we didn't even open your kit. We didn't even open the box. And I'm like, oh, wait till you open it because that smell is like an essential oil. I go, we talked about it. They know they're a frequency and they're alive in your body. So how they're alive, they know what you're talking about. Like they're starting to vibrate at that moment of knowing. So you didn't even need to open the box. Just us talking a month ago really set a tone. And now all of a sudden you were thinking parasites, grab the box, bring it in. My wife doesn't believe me, right? And so that was one of the craziest scenarios that has happened to me.
I am back. I don't know what's going on with
Yeah. Well, and that is, I'm going to say, Kim, that is an absolute crazy one. And it is so true. And I have, like, I even did like frequency fingers earlier when you said it, because I think it's one of the places where people lose the correlation between frequency.
Mhm.
And I know you have a whole podcast on sound and its impact and how we can use it in our healing modalities. So the powerful part of frequency and these living entities knowing
Mhm.
what is happening before we're even using the herbal remedies. Rochelle, I know we had another question or two, and I wanted to see if you wanted to pop off another hot fire round. We're
rapid
struggling
fire.
with the word rapid fire.
Rapid
That
fire.
thing, hot potato.
Yes. But really quick, really talking
Right.
about frequency, wheels turning about something that we need to add into the Cleanse Club 100%.
Yes.
So
Can I tell you guys too? I have another minute. I got to tell you guys because this just happened to me last week, and I've only done a handful of podcasts since this happened. So I was on a synthetic parasite cleanse, right, for a little extended period of time. I talk about salmon all day. I say the word parasite, I say the word heavy metal, and I say the word salmon every day, sometimes 6 or 7 times a day, right? So I got my hair done. I got my hair analysis. They pull it. They do like 4 strands. They got to pull it from the root. So she put it in her machine, and you're going to die because I have not talked about this at all. I'm allergic to salmon, and the 2 things that popped up, 75% of my body is heavy metals and parasites. 1, because I talk about it all day, just like I say negative things about salmon all day. And 2, I just got off of a frequency synthetic drug, right? For that heavy metals weighted down, and it was specifically for parasites. Pull my hair, 4 strands, print it out, showed me top 2 issues in my body. Top 2. Number 1 thing I'm allergic to, salmon. Top 2 issues, 75% of my body. One that shows how long the synthetics stay in here because it was 5 days past I was done with my synthetic cleanse. But it shows you 1, medications and how long they stay in your body and that they're really a frequency. Because my hair, I mean, really. And 2, when you say things out loud, that frequency comes right back in. Your body knows. So I recommend the Z app, which is free. They can do many, 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 many frequencies. It's a free app. You can type in parasites if you know exactly what parasites. I love it for mold. Frequencies for mold is the way my husband and I were able to just really mold avoidance and get ourselves out of this circle that we were in of the mold. And so frequencies are very powerful because it's just like an opera singer singing. When she gets her voice to the same frequency as the glass, it shatters it. All you're doing is going in with the same frequency of what that ailment is, and you're bringing in that frequency and you're shattering it. So just another tool in your box to help with while you're cleansing is to do some frequencies. I do frequencies every single night. I listen to a sublingual, like it rewires my brain. Subliminal message with frequencies every night. If I miss it, I can tell the next day I'm not as confident. I don't feel as calm. I'm not as clear when I speak because I'm rewiring my brain while I sleep with a frequency. We are just frequency. We are electrical frequency beings. So
Ah, Yes, Rochelle and I are oohing because in all of us, we all love sound infusement into our business, sound and frequency in every aspect for healing. So thank you. I wanted to say ooh. And Rochelle, I know you were going to ask
Yeah.
another question too.
Yeah, no. It's incredible. I had 4 years ago found out that I had a fibroid the size of a peach,
Wow.
and immediately my doctor was like, "Oh, you can either have a hysterectomy or take a medication that'll make you feel like you're going through menopause." And I was like, "Neither of those things." And that's when I was like, I want to try and heal my body through sound and frequency. So it's so incredibly powerful. And Lindsay is right. We use it quite a bit in both of our businesses. So thank you for sharing that piece. So last question, and maybe you kind of just answered it. What is one daily practice you personally never skip?
Taking sustain. I take this every day and I make sure that I do it because it's so easy. Like that's my tincture, right? That's how easy it is to cleanse. Probably that and frequencies and vibration. I do a lot of vibrating plate. I got to keep my body moving. I'm not been as good the last couple of weeks because I've been so busy, but I do hyperbaric chamber oxygen therapy. That helps me a lot with Lyme. I do NAD IVs that helped push the Lyme out of my cells because it goes in and it boosts your mitochondria. So I feel like I don't just not do one thing, but for sure, I don't miss listening to frequencies and subliminal messages at night. I do feel weird when I don't. I mean, I travel and I don't have to listen to anything around me anymore. Like I used to have a hard time when I would travel, the different sounds, but my body loves listening to that. I stick it in a EMF protecting bag and I just hit play and it's on YouTube. Minds of Unison is my favorite. They're verified because, subliminal messages. You got to make sure that the person is legit or you could end up like, well, the subliminal messages told me to do that, So you got to make sure that they're good and legit. And I like Minds of Unison. They've been tested and they're really a great way, a great tool.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
vibration plate. I also have one. It's turned. My boyfriend calls it the treadmill of the house, where
Mhm.
you get it and then it kind of sits there and collects dust. And I have not been great with using it, so as a very great reminder. Thank you.
When you use it, you should use it and stand in front of a red light. Yeah, whenever you have an opportunity, you need to biohack stack. No one has time to do one, right? So I'll listen to my frequencies, I'll stand on my vibration plate, and I'll stand in front of a red light. And I'll usually use red light on my face at the same time, a cold laser, so that I'm like doing all the things. And I've got my work phone and I'm doing like 9 things at once.
Yeah.
You really need to utilize your time in such a wise way when you're doing these biohack
Mhm.
stacking because that's what this is. We're female hackers, you guys. And it's really cool because that's what season 2 of What's Eating You is all about, is the female biohacker. I've been traveling to all the different facilities to show how all of these female run businesses are using HOCAT and HBOT and stem cells and like the men have occupied this area for this space for a long time. So I've been really getting a lot of females because that's really what we're doing. We're hacking our DNA that's been damaged by environmental toxins when you're doing a parasite cleanse, when you're doing a lymph cleanse, when you're doing all these cleanses, we're hacking our DNA and we're telling it what to do. We're the boss. You're not the boss. We're the boss. So you got to utilize as many biohacks at once as possible.
Well, and I think that's great too. And I love that you brought up the part about, the men have been dominating this field for so long because obviously women's bodies are different. So,
Mhm.
so many women have been biohacking like a man instead of biohacking like a woman. And so I think that's absolutely incredible because no, I don't want to say no one, you are talking about it, but it is not as mainstream yet
Yep.
as it needs to be. So
I agree. And that I'm changing it. We're loud. Sam and I are really like season 2, we've traveled. I've been in like 3 states to do seasons 2, What's Eating You to celebrate all of these women and we get to try everything. We get to show the community what all of these things that they're scared of that like you're right too that guys are a little different than girls. And, there's so much women cold plunge. Okay, well, I love cold plunging. I can just chill in the cold plunge. Like it doesn't bother me. But then you got some people saying don't do it and some people saying do it. And so it's like we really need to come out and as females and just own all of the things that we're doing and say it for we're making the ripple effect.
Absolutely. We sure are. And Rochelle, you're on mute because there was a little bit of background noise. So yeah, we absolutely are. We are the ripplers in this whole thing. We
Mhm.
are literally throwing our rocks, skipping them across the river or the ocean or wherever we want to be skipping rocks. And I mean, without a doubt, our opportunity to continue honoring what supports men and also bring in this perspective of how to nurture women in this space is something we're so excited and grateful to be doing alongside of you. We
Mhm.
welcome men into the
So
Cleanse
grateful.
Club. This isn't a women's only movement. And what we're excited to share is that women have been stepping forward and coming forward on behalf of them, putting themselves first, choosing to address the, what's eating
Yeah.
us inside, what's eating us up. And so, yeah, it's so excited for us. So we know that listeners can obviously find you via RogersHood Apothecary. You're also your own individual person. So you have your own account too. So they can also find you, the individual, as well. And it's Miss Rogers Hood is the handle, correct?
Yeah. You literally can Google Kim Rogers Worm Queen and I will be there. And then you can also find me on my podcast, What's Eating You with the letter U. And my handles are Mrs. Rogers Hood, MRSROGERSHOOD. And on IG, it's .hood because someone else has Mrs. Rogers Hood. Feel bad for her DMs. So you have to put a dot there. But I mean, I'm really easy to find. I'm real loud, so it won't take long. And once you start looking at those parasites, your whole feed will be worms. Okay. It really will be. One of my friends who's a realtor, I said, "Oh, go look me up." And so she did. She's like, "Kim, every time anything now comes up, it's worms." And I'm like, "Yep, welcome to the feed of Parasite."
Well, we're hoping we've already beautifully contaminated those that have followed along with our journey. And we're excited to come in and really wrap our arms around this entire community that you have cultivated globally to really move the health needle forward. You're a visionary. You're so heart-centered, and it is felt in every ounce of what you do. From the moment you take the products and they receive in the home to every opportunity. You said 4 years without rest. And I really want to take a moment to honor you because that's a lot of giving. That's an enormous amount of impact. That's an extreme amount of generosity. And it doesn't go unnoticed. We are so blessed to be able to use products from someone with that kind of integrity and to feel so confident when we are sharing them with our community. So thank you from the depths of our soul. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
Thanks. You're welcome. You made me cry. Yeah, you guys are so welcome. You're so welcome. I'm really grateful for your support and everything that you do. And I'm really glad that we were able to do this today. And thank you so much for your kind words. I really feel them and I receive them. And it's really been my honor to be able to kind of guide everybody to be a healthier version of themselves and to reconnect with their bodies and understand that like we really don't have to live sick.
We sure don't. We sure don't. And you guys, now we've got 3 little worm princesses coming with our queen. So we're out and we're going to do the dang thing. And we hope that you'll join us.
Yeah.
Kings, queens, princesses, and princes, whatever you want to call yourself. We're excited to continue. And we're really honored that we now get to bring the lymph in and add another
Mhm.
layer of care, TLC, and education into our community. And thank you again for your partnership. And Rochelle and Allie, if there's anything you'd like to say before we say see you later to the queen herself. You must come off mute if you want to speak to the queen. That is a required thing.
I don't think I can. It's not letting me come off mute.
You are
Oh, you did though.
It worked.
There it is. The queen had to put her
There she
crown
is.
on. In order for me to come off of mute, she had to wear her crown. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Roll out the red carpet. There she is. Okay, well, I'm putting it out there. I just wanted to say this in the airwaves, how magnificent it would be to have a cleanse club field trip retreat in conjunction with RogersHood Apothecary,
Yeah.
in conjunction with Kim. So let's make that happen. Let's go visit Kim.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what's next with this partnership. We kick off October 28th with our
Okay.
our 3 L's, which is lymph, liver, and
Oh.
lungs. And I think now we probably need to add the 4th L that we talked about, which is Lyme. My goodness, who knew?
Well, when you move your lymph, it will help your Lyme. So you just
Exactly.
keep it the
Move
3
your lymph
L's.
to move your Lyme, would you? But anyways, no, I just wanted to come off of mute and say thank you to the queen herself. How grateful I am, how excited I am. And I am such a cheerleader of all that you're doing and learning from you leaps and bounds. So I'm excited for the future. Yeah. Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you. Thank you for everything. All right. Goodbye.